Alrighty then. Well, let's move on now to another bright young star that I feel like any transfer window that pops up, we're constantly talking about Martin Odegaard. Oh my goodness. And Jules, we're hearing that Arsenal are in the race for this man's signature. I mean, that's a big power move from Arsenal, which is probably what the fans have wanted for so long as well, these kind of big name signings. So what do you think about this? Does it make sense? And how likely is this?
Yeah, not just the fans; it's also the manager. I think Mikel Arteta has been looking for a really creative midfielder, a number 10, because obviously he didn't want to play Ozil, and Ozil was always going to leave. So they looked at Usamawa, for example, in the summer. They look at Emiliano Buendia from Norwich this transfer window, and again, this won't happen now because Norwich and Buendia are both in the promotion race in the Championship to come back to the Premier League. So it would make no sense either for the player or for the club to sell. So Odegaard is another option. It's a very interesting one. However, for me, this only makes sense is there's a buyout clause at the end of the loan, because if you just get a player for 6 months on loan and you change everything to accommodate him into your team and to start him, things that are much better right now. Arsenal with Emil Smith-Rowe, with Bukayo Saka, with the players that are now finding their feet and playing much better, and they're on a good run. If you bring Odegaard just for 6 months and then he goes back to Real Madrid or to somewhere else, I don't think there's any point if you're Arsenal. However, if you can have him on loan and then have a good option to buy him in the summer, then maybe it's a far more, I think, attractive proposition if you're Arsenal, and you can incorporate him in your team, integrate him. He can play, he can even adapt, he can learn for a bit, and then you know that you still have him for the next 3 or 4 years. An only loan for 6 months doesn't make any sense at all for me.
Rodri, why do you think it's probably not worked out for him at Real Madrid? Because like I said, there's been so much hype surrounding him in the past. I feel like we're constantly checking to see where he could go. I know he was linked to United at one point, and I, as a fan, was super excited. I was like, yes, get him. But ultimately, he goes to Real Madrid, where you think dreams come true, but it's not quite worked out. Why?
Well, because of Zinedine Zidane. I mean, he doesn't really like Real Madrid youngsters, so that's why he always bet for another kind of profile. He prefers Casemiro, he prefers always Sergio Ramos, he prefers Benzema. He would never prefer people like Vinicius, like Rodrigo Goes, like Valverde, like Odegaard. And that's why Odegaard was kind of fed up with Real Madrid. Last year he was on loan on Real Sociedad. He was really happy with that. He was progressing a lot, and he was playing really, really good. He was one of the main names in Spanish La Liga. But after that, and as I said before, Real Madrid didn't have any cash to get any or to face any transfer. So that's why he went back to Real Madrid. And he went back to Real Madrid with the promise that he was going to play much more than he's playing. And that's why Odegaard was kind of tired of being on the bench. And he was tired as well of Zinedine Zidane's kind of game. I mean, he doesn't really believe on Zidane's tactics on him, and he wants to play more and play more regularly in a different way, in a different league, in a different role. So that's why I think Mikel Arteta was clever enough to call him and to try to convince him to go to London, because Real Sociedad wanted him a lot. I mean, Real Sociedad wanted him to be back on the squad, but he prefers right now the moment to be part of another completely different squad as such an Arsenal.
And Jules, I mean, if I just literally Google his name right here, some of the headlines in the UK papers seem to just be pointing to Arsenal and saying that Odegaard probably just needs a couple of days to mull it over. But it does say that Arsenal are one step away from his signature. So how likely is this to go through, I suppose, now in January? And do you think it would be a perfect suit for Arsenal?
So I think he would be a perfect fit for Arteta and the way he wants to play and in his position. I think that would be perfect for Odegaard. I think, is he ready for the Premier League and for English football? Probably, I think so. I don't see any problem there physically with his technical ability, with his intelligence. I don't think there would be any problem at all. So again, I think he ticks a lot of the boxes. For me, the issue is, as we've said before, is a pure loan only for 6 months doesn't make much sense. If you can get him with an option to buy, which is, I think, what Real Madrid are ready to do, because clearly it's not going to play there. So I think Real Sociedad were happy with that as well. I can see why Real Madrid don't want him to go to Real Sociedad, who really right now are playing so well that they're a bit of a competitor when you come to finishing the top 4, for example. So a move abroad makes a lot of sense if you're Real Madrid as well. And I think for me, if Arsenal can get the right deal, I think it would fit and suit everyone. Odegaard, Arsenal, Real Madrid, and I think it would be quite exciting to see him in the Premier League.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.